Hello everyone and welcome back to another wicked gameplay episode. Today we're in Prepared. We're looking at the A2A Simulations Comanche, which is a pretty exciting aircraft, and I really like the Piper aircraft, if I haven't already said that. I've done quite a few videos now, so I really don't remember all the time what I've said, but I do love the low wing aircraft. So I have actually got the Cherokee, which I think is cool, and the 182 I think they did, and the 172, but I think this is probably my favorite that they've done so far out of these type of aircraft, you know, the GA style. They've done a few military ones, but other ones I do have, this is probably at the top of my list, and it is really, really nice. So this is the green and white livery. There's also a blue and a red. I thought I'd go with something a little bit different, the green one this time around, and see how we go. Also, we're using should tell you where we are. We're actually in ORBX scenery here, and I did have a note. This is Bowerman, and we're going to be doing a short flight actually out of Bowerman, and we're going to be going to Astoria. So Bowerman is Kilo Hotel Quebec Mike, and we're going to the Astoria Regional Airport, which is Kilo Alpha Sierra Tango. That's going to be our trip, and what we'll do is we'll jump out and have a little look. We're going to be doing this all by VOR. It's a very simple VOR flight, and I thought that would be something kind of fun to do. It's quite simple. We're basically just going to take off, we're going to head out to the water and then make a left turn and basically fly straight on into the Astoria airport and make our landing there. So I've configured the airport here. Not the airport. I've configured the weather here because the live weather was IFR really, and I just wanted to make this a little bit more simple for this trip so we can have a little look at some of the scenery and enjoy this beautiful aircraft from A2A. So let's just jump inside. Before we do that, actually, let's have a look at the flight plan, and we'll come back and jump inside and take a look. Okay, so we're just having a look at our flight plan here, and as you can see, we're going to be taking off from Bowerman, which is just up the top here. And we're going to be heading 242 degrees, which is about 9 nautical miles, to this VOR. I'm going to turn left to 148 degrees and travel for 48 nautical miles, all the way into Astoria Regional. And yeah, we're going to be basically following this this frequency here, and that'll basically take us in here. We could actually do an ILS landing, but I'm just going to land here on this runway, which is looks like about a 1.6, something like that. I'd have to double check, but I think that's what it was. So that's basically what we're going to be doing. It's a fairly simple flight. If we keep the water to our left, so this will be taking off runway 24, depending on the wind, heading straight out. As you can see here, this is 24, turning left and coming down. And that will be our trip for this particular flight. Okay, so we're in the cockpit here, and as you can see, we're in a cold and dark state. We have our locks here, so why don't we just remove some of this stuff, get prepared for the flight. I've also got my little side window open here because the A2A planes do fog up if you leave the windows closed. You can also open the door here. You can see it's locked. We can unlock that. Really cool. Beautiful sounds. Top quality the way the A2A guys actually make their aircraft. Beautifully modeled. You know, stunning. Really is a stunning plane. Looks beautiful. We can fix our trim settings there for takeoff, and we've got a couple light switches here. Red light and a white light. Very cool. Beautiful interior. So let's just shut that door again. Just click that, and we'll lock that door. You can see it suctions sort of closed. Got some cabin ventilation and all movable. Don't know what that does. Can also move the visors here. You know, beautifully done. We also have the tip tanks here, so we've got some options. We can actually have a look at this particular craft. She's in good shape. Everything's looking good since my last trip. I've done a couple of trips just to get familiar with the plane a little bit. Done about 5.8 hours in total since I've had this aircraft, and looking good. You can also, as you do with all the other A2A aircraft, you can take all these bits and pieces off. You take the tip tanks off, but I like to have the tip tanks on. Stick all these back on, but you can see what I mean. You can adjust all these things. Very, very cool. Change battery, change your oil, check all that sort of stuff, so you can have a look in the engine bay, run your compression tests. Really, really cool 6-cylinder engine. So that is the maintenance hangar. We've got our pilot's notes and our instructions here on how to actually start the aircraft. It's really cool. What else have we got? Our controls here. This is our T handle for maneuvering the aircraft if we jumped outside. And let me just get that back up. You can now use your yoke. Oops. I can't because I have the wheel chocks on. Let's remove the tie downs. Oops. Maybe because we have... Do we have the brakes or something on? Handbrake. Could be because I have the handbrake on. I'm going to remove the pitot cover as well. We'll jump back in. Hide this. Remove the parking brake and jump back outside. And we'll have a look at that again. We still have the T-bar. Now we can actually move it. You can steer using your yoke. Really cool feature. This was actually available on the 182 as well. Very cool. So you can do all that great stuff. Okay, so we'll do that. We've maneuvered our plane where we want. So this gives us all our options, yokes, no yokes, volume, controls, GPS, if you want the GPS, different types of GPS inside the cabin here. So I'll have a quick look at that. So we have our 295 GPS. We have our GPS that we add to our stack here. We can just have our standard no GPS. And it gives you the option of clicking any of these on and off, basically to configure your plane. So you can turn, you can see here, this turns a beacon switch on there at the bottom, all that good stuff. So I've already taken the pitot cover off, the tie downs and the wheel chocks, and that is because I'm using EasyDock and it doesn't play very nice with the A2A pre-flight inspection. And I'll see if I can get that up. Oops, that's not what I was looking for. Here it is here. And if you move around in this direction, you'll see all the views with EasyDock are bad. So we can jump back in the middle. I believe if you go backwards, it's kind of okay. So you can see you can do this, but you're going backwards around their aircraft. But I don't know. I don't think it really works very well with EasyDock, so I'm not gonna bother going through that. Let's just assume everything is fine. We'll just do our normal checks. But really cool feature that you can actually do that and get familiar with doing pre-flight. You know, if you want to get into the real pilot flying and be able to do a pre-flight, so you sort of keep that good habits going. Okay, so this gives us some notes around the engine. You know, idling under 1,000 RPM with cold engine. Stall speeds 64 mile an hour. This is a mile an hour. Airspeed indicator. Max gear extension is 150 mile an hour. Approach speed is 105, and that is all good with flaps up. 125. Okay, so let's move into the start. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Before we do that though, I'll just run you around the different views. So we've got our radio stack, our switch panel, as you can see, really beautifully done. Do we have, oh, we've got our fuses here. I didn't even notice these. Circuit breakers all through here. We've got our right hand side here, so we've got a couple of extra circuit breakers, and you know, our throttle controls, all that sort of stuff. Gear, our radio, our gauges, co-pilot, our fuel selectors, and because there's not that many views in this aircraft, we've also got our passenger views from the back. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's get this back up. Our pre-flight is complete. We've briefed our passengers. Our seat belts and shoulder harnesses are on. Flaps are up. Radios are off. Circuit breakers are in. All electrical switches are off. Autopilot is off. Rotating beacon is on. And this kind of confuses me. I guess we just flick that on now. So when we turn the power on, maybe. I've always wondered why we wouldn't turn power on first, but maybe it's so when you do power on, this light comes on automatically. That's what I'm assuming. Carb heat is off, which is just here. Carb heat is actually off. Fuel selectors to the desired tanks. So I'm going to flip them up to the main tanks. And gear switch is down. So this is like in a centered position. I'm going to pull this into the down position. Okay, so moving forward, let's crack the throttle. Mixture is going to be full rich. Prop is going to be full. Master switch is going to be on. We also can put a headphone jack in there, which is another cool feature. You can even smoke in here if you're game. If you don't mind risking a aircraft fire. Probably not the best thing to do. Master switch. Let's get back on track. Master switch is now on. Really cool. And if we jumped outside, we would see our beacon was on. Let's just do that real quick. You can see our beacon's on there. Get back to where we were. Gear light is green. Fuel pump on and check pressure. So we have our pressure gauge down the bottom here. You can see just under the max gear speed, under our OBS selector and stuff here. Just above the ammeter, amps, fuel pressure. So we're going to turn that on. We'll see that rising. We'll see that coming up into the green. 1 psi, 2 psi. On and check pressure. So we're looking good. I think it's going to be about 4 or 5. I'll leave it at 4. Okay, turn that off. Fuel pump is now off. Prime the engine. So we left click this to loosen it, and then left click again to prime. We'll give it 3 pumps. And right click to close. Mags, turn our mags onto right and both. And we want to clear, make sure no one is around here. Clear prop! And hit the starter switch right here. And let's hope for the best. Okay, we've got to fire it up. Oops. No park brake. I'll just hit my park brake now. Brakes do work, so there's always that. Okay, let's just keep the engine revs down a little bit. Get it down to around 1000 RPM because the engine is cold. As you can see by the cylinder head temperature, just down here, above this caution. Try and lean this fuel out a little bit. Now, we want to be checking. It's getting a little bit noisy in here. I'm going to put my headphones in. Okay. Oil pressure. You can check our oil pressure here. Just to this left hand, it's 71 psi. It's in the green. Ammeter is checked. It's 3 amps, 2 amps. It's looking okay. And mixture is leaned. I've already leaned that out. We can see our oil temperature is 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius. Cylinder head temperature is still cold. Suction is looking okay. So we've done all this. Move to the next page and we can move to our radios. Nav, GPS, we'll leave that on nav. Turn our radios on.
Sky condition 4,500 scattered. Temperature 15 Celsius. Dew point 13 Celsius. Altimeter 2,999.
That's all good. Didn't hear what that wind speed was or what direction.
Kilo Hotel Quebec Mike automated weather observation.
Turn our transponder on.
8 Zulu. Wind 153 at 8. Visibility 15. Sky condition 4,500 scattered.
153 at 8, I think you said. Heading indicator. Well, let's have a look at what traffic. So runway for takeoff. So we'll go runway 24, and I'm not going to be bother announcing it. There's not going to be anyone here. We could announce it, but there's really not much point. So we're not flying online or anything like that. Altimeter is set. Yes, we've done that. Heading indicator. We'll set this to 24, which will be the runway heading. Let's get this heading selector here. Runway 24. Yes, good. Landing gear indicator is still green. Radio, ATIS we've already done. Parking brake release. I've already tested the brakes because I hadn't put the parking brake on before. What I did actually want to do though is I've already got the two frequencies in here. 114 is the VOR to Estonia, so we're going to switch that, and this is the VOR heading out to our first VOR flying straight out. So essentially we're going to turn this, and we're going to get this going in the up position, and just line this up. So you can see it basically is going to line up with runway 24. That is our heading, and that is basically where we're going. Then we'll switch over once we almost get to that point. We're going to switch over and go to the Estonia VOR here, and currently on our second nav here we don't actually have a signal. Okay, so we are ready to go. I'm not going to turn any lights on at this stage. We'll turn our pitot tubes on, and we'll just check our brakes do actually work. Yep, they're working. Brakes hold. So we're going to do a run-up check when we get there. And runway 24 is going to be in this direction. So this is a beautiful ORBX scenery. It's actually, I think it's a freeware airport that you can download if you have the scenery here. Looks really good. Got some birds chirping. FedEx aircraft here. Really love the ORBX scenery. It looks quite good. Adds some nice realism to the airports. Once you get away from the airports, though, it's kind of okay. Yeah, I do have FTX Global as well, and I think it does an alright job. Haven't used any taxi lights. This has got landing lights. Actually, I probably should have a look. Landing, it says landing lights left and right, strobes. Doesn't say anything about taxi lights. I don't know what the protocol is there, whether you're supposed to turn on one of the landing lights, but it is daytime, and I don't think you actually need landing lights on or taxi lights on during the day. I could be wrong, as I'm not a real pilot. Okay, so we're going to do our run-up checks here. I'm also going to set flaps to 1. We're going to hold the brakes. We go back to our checklist. Brakes hold, fuel quantities check. So we're full on both tanks. Full quantity check. Fuel selectors, we are on both tanks there. That's good. Mixture is set. Set full rich. Throttle to 2000 RPM. Now cylinder head temperature is still quite cold. It's 100 degrees C now. Okay. So we're doing that. Engine instruments check. Fuel, oil pressure is good. Ammeter is good. Oil temperature is good. Fuel pressure is good. Everything looks fine. Vacuum, EGT, cylinder head temperature is a little bit cold, but we're going to go anyway. Magneto check. Checking for a drop in RPM. Looking pretty good. No more than 125, and no max difference between the two of 50 RPM. We also want to actually cycle the prop. Nice sounds that A2A's put into this aircraft as well. Okay, so we're looking pretty good there. Carb heat is checked. I think I can just pull that out, but anyway. Make sure that is closed, and we'll move to page 5, which is takeoff. Make sure that our controls are free and correct. So we're going to just check our ailerons here, and the right one. Now I didn't actually check this one day, and my yoke and rudder pedals weren't actually connected, and I took off. I think my yoke wasn't connected on my rudder pedals, and I took off and I couldn't control the aircraft. So it does actually pay to check these things. Trim tab, props set, trim tab is neutral, flaps are set, yeah, doors latched, we're all good. Let's close this and we'll set our runway lights on, turn out, prop full forward, and we'll start moving on to the runway. Okay, so let's taxi onto the runway. I did have a few problems with the recording here, so I just reset myself back up. So you'll probably find my cylinder head temperatures warmed up a little bit as I got myself back to where I wanted to be. I did have some computer problems, and unfortunately that is how it goes. So that maybe means it's computer upgrade time, which I'm definitely thinking about. But anyway, let's get back to what we're got here at hand. So reset my course here. So we want to go to 117. So let's just get this. This will be aligned with our runway. Pretty much is where we want it to be. Yep. 114. This is not working yet. Okay, so we're good. Full throttle. Everything is okay. All these are on. Pumps off. Okay, gear is up. Oh good. My gear is down. Okay, we're good. Let's go. Set my trim. Use a yoke and let's get going. I fouled the plugs a little bit. I'm gonna rotate at 85. Rotate. So we haven't got a positive rate. Gear up. Trying to get this to climb at about 105. Just pulling back on the throttle. Didn't have my fuel mixture all the way forward, but so to get this under 2400 RPM. And we'll continue to our current flight path. So flap check. Gear is up, green light is out, and we should be above 1,000 feet, pretty much. Flaps are up, getting close to that, so that'll just get us on our climb. As you can see, we're on about 1,500 feet a minute, pretty decent climb out speed. Flaps up, climb out speed 105, and I think we'll close this window down. And we'll take a look at what is going on here. So we can actually flip this. This is all good. We'll flip this to... I can get to it. Okay, so that gives us our distance to that particular waypoint, which is pretty cool. I really like the way you can just flip that over. This is 6.8 nautical miles. Nautical miles. Yeah, it is. It does actually say that there, so we should be able to jump down to. So we check my views. Yeah, there we go. So it is. Oh, it's nautical miles. Yep. Trim this down a little bit. You can see we've gone a bit off course there while I'm not concentrating. Back where we need to be. Trim this back to level. And pretty soon we'll jump out and take a little look. So what we might do is set up our autopilot here. So just get our heading going across here a little bit. We'll turn on our autopilot. So this is already on. We'll flip this onto heading, and we'll set our level, wings level or altitude level. And that should pretty much get us to where we want to go, so we can just jump outside and have a little look. Just ease back on the throttle a little bit. Okay, let's jump outside. So we can just move around the aircraft here. Don't see that beacon on. That should be on. Maybe it's just some of my settings. Oh, there you go. You can actually see it from this angle. And back to this side. So really, really nicely done aircraft. Beautiful. I love the inside. Trim up, trim down. I'm just going to ease back on the throttle here. Okay, so we've actually gone past our waypoint here. Well, not past it yet, but 2.1. Really like to jump out and have a little look at, to see if we can actually see the VOR. Can't actually see it. I have actually spotted this before in a test flight. It's very, very cool. So we're 1.1 and we're just to the left of it, so we've got another airport there. Haven't been able to spot it, so anyway, maybe for next time. So we're just, what are we just coming? Oh, we're just crossed over. So let's switch down to our next frequency here, and I know it's going to be about 1.5. Maybe if I disengage the autopilot, we'll go to 1.5 and we'll actually start tuning 1.15. We'll start to tune this. Back on the yoke so we don't lose that altitude in our turn. Yeah, it's around 150, so we'll head to that direction, and that should pretty much level us up. To apologise for my pretty poor turning there. I'm trying to look at my heading thing and do this at the same time, which is being a little bit tricky. So we're going to get this onto heading again, and we'll set our wings level, and we could actually fly. Oops. Get this onto heading. So as you can see, as we're bouncing around, it's a bit hard to click on these things. Get wings level. Basically hold our current altitude and we're good, so we're holding a pretty good speed here. Flaps are up, and if we look now, we're about 45 nautical miles away from our destination, so we'll regroup shortly and we'll come in on our landing, on our approach. Okay, so we're coming into the airport shortly. We're about 7.8 nautical miles away. I'm going to turn off the autopilot now. Turn all this off. Start to slow the aircraft down. I believe if we look at our nearest airport list, and look at runways for landing, should be runway 13, which is more or less right in front of us. You can see that straight ahead. That's where we're headed. I'm just starting to slow us down. Get some of our altitude down as well. Clouds all set by Active Sky Next, and Rex Textures as well for the textures. Getting our speed down. We're about under 140, so I'm going to get my gear down. That switch just toggles, but it toggles, so it'll go up, down, off if you press it too many times. So if we can just slow down that a little bit more, try and get into the wide arc. Not really use my rotor pedals. Okay, we'll hold that. First stage of flaps. I'm going to try and get a approach speed of around 105. So there we are on the outside. Another stage of flaps, so we don't wash off too much airspeed. Descent rate is around 500. I'm just trying to keep it there, but we're a little bit to the left. Got the PAPI lights there saying that we're pretty much on the glide slope. Hopefully I can get a half decent landing. Sometimes I've been floating and other times I've been hitting the runway pretty hard. But floating seems to be what I've been doing a lot. I guess that's from switching from X-plane to prepared. It takes a little bit of getting used to the different flight dynamics. Another stage of flaps there. So I feel like I'm a little bit high. And start to flare a little bit. Don't want to float, just sort of let this touch down. You can see I'm kind of floating again. Anyway, not too bad. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. All good. Okay, so what have we got around here? Let's have a look at our surroundings here. This is pretty much the Astoria Regional. Okay, so let's get off the runway here. We'll get our flaps up. start to lean off the mixture. Beautiful cockpit in this aircraft. Part of the FTX global scenery here. We'll just move over. You can see some people flow. Some people walking around. We're coming in close. Really should have turned off my landing lights. So we'll turn off the landing lights here. The strobe should have been off already. Get our pitot tube off. That's pretty much it. Put our parking brake on. And let's pull the fuel, and that should cut that off. Turn off our tanks here. That's good. Parking brakes are on. These are all off. Can switch, turn off our, oops. Probably should have turned these off, so they normally explode, I believe, if you turn off the aircraft with those on. And then battery master switch off, and then beacon off. And there we have it. Then we can actually put our tie there, and we could actually go around our aircraft. And I'm just going to make it easy and put it in a cold and dark state. And let's see if my views are actually working. Jump back out. And there we have it. The Piper Comanche by A2A Simulations. I really do like this aircraft. It's done extremely well. Flies beautifully. And definitely my favorite A2A aircraft so far. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Sorry it has been a little bit delayed, been on holidays and also had some issues with this recording, so that has kind of held things up a little bit. I might do an update video soon on just what I'm trying to do, and try to get some extra additional times in for some regular content. So anyway, always look forward to hearing from you. Welcome to all the new subscribers, and thanks to everyone who's been sticking around. I really appreciate that, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Catch you later.